Week 18 is approaching, though. Opportunities all over the board. I'm feeling good about where we're going to land. But before we get to it, let's hear some sharp calls.
Uh, I'll do this pretty easy. We'll start with the Saturday games, and we'll go to the Sunday games. Um, we talked a little bit about that Pittsburgh Ravens game. We kind of know what to do with it. We said we'll probably just end up taking the dog. Most pros I talk to have the same view as we do, Chad. You just take the dog. We don't really
Yeah.
care who the quarterbacks are. We don't care who's playing, who's not playing. Yeah, it's the Ravens backups trying to play spoiler against a really desperate Pittsburgh team. So if you're wondering who the pros like in this game, I think you can kind of tell if you go and look at the splits, all the money, all the bets right now are on this Ravens team. And they were +4 or +4.5 last night when I went to bed. I woke up this morning. They're back down to +3. Not that shocking, but just know it's a public dog. Me and Chad talk all the time. Be careful when you're betting public dogs. This is one of the bigger public dogs of the week, this Ravens team. The next one, a game me and Chad are going to get to for sure. I like the Colts. Chad like Houston. I thought it was going to be all pros all over the Colts. It's pretty split, honestly. Like I know some really sharp groups who like Houston. They like Houston at +1. They like that at +1.5. Um, I'm honestly shocked by it. It just feels like such a trap spot to back Houston. So that's definitely a game we'll break down. It's split. It's 50-50 from from the guys I've talked to. There's some pros like me who love the Colts in this spot. There's other pros who love Houston. They love CJ and they love this spot for them. Let's keep it moving. Titans, another public dog we like. Again, not the best spot to be in. It's the pros like it, the public likes it. I read Evan's trends. It makes me feel a little better about backing these kind of dogs in these spots, these teams playing spoilers. I don't know if you saw that Vrabel interview, Chad.
Uh-uh.
But it was basically like someone asked him about tanking and the look of disgust and rage that filled him, where it's like, this is like a real football guy. Um, he talked about it, like losing is the worst feeling ever. If you're a true competitor, it eats at you losing. It really does eat away at you. And he just like the look on his face of talking about whatever they are, like 5-10 or 5-11. It's just like you think we're gonna not try this final game. It's I love Rabel so much. I'm so happy that we both are on this side, even though it's the public dog. It's just I love Tennessee. I think it's moved now from 5.5 in a lot of books down to 4.5.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't care that it's a public dog. I love Tennessee. Uh, Again, we really didn't touch much on. I still don't know how I really feel about it because it's so chalky, but talked to some really smart guys who love Detroit Lions this week. They love them in this spot, and it's hard for me to get there, but maybe you can convince me to go in Detroit. But I really didn't have much opinion on that one. I know Nick Mullins is now the quarterback for the
Yeah.
Vikings, but still didn't really have much of opinion on
That
it.
made me like the Vikings more.
Yeah, and you got 3.5 now.
Yeah.
So that's one we'll definitely talk about. Again, we both liked Atlanta. They moved from 3 to 3.5, which made me a little scared. A couple of the pros I talked to a little scared because they love Atlanta as well. We all thought this was going to go to 2.5. Now it's up to 3.5, which usually isn't ideal if you're betting a dog because that means some smart money is coming on the Saints as a favorite and they need Atlanta money. Pretty interesting that numbers moved to where it has. Uh, yeah, the another public dog we like. Talk to some pros who love Green Bay. They love Green Bay in this spot.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't get there with them though. I just disagree with it. And it's the same thing as last week. I knew some really big time pros who came in very heavy on Atlanta last week against the Bears. They moved the number from 3 to 2.5, and they were dead wrong. Like Atlanta was never in that game for real against the Bears. I just think people haven't adjusted to this Bears team and how much better they've been down the stretch here. Like that's just how football is. It's such a momentum sport. It reminds me a lot of Detroit last year. Detroit started off really slow and then absolutely took off to end the season. And they carried it to this season. And I think that's what Bears fans are assuming will happen this year. It's like, how do we go against this momentum? Like I just totally disagree with the play on Green Bay, but I get where they're coming from. I understand that uh the Bears were buying a little high, right? Like this is the peak value they've had all season. If you go through their schedule, like every week it's kind of been building towards this team and this number. And, say they hadn't won the last 2 weeks like they had, this probably would be 4.5. That's how well Green Bay's been playing. But yeah, I just totally disagree with them. It was a lot of back and forth, but I disagree on that one. And then the last one, the game everyone wants to talk about, a game we're going to be talking about a lot, this Dolphins Miami game. The pros love the Dolphins. Like if you go through all the splits, the stats, I wish Evan was here, but I don't think Josh Allen's covered or won a night game in like 5 or 6 straight, like ATS. Like he's just struggled at night for some reason. This Bills team has. The Dolphins, I believe they're 7-1 straight up at home this season. Like I totally get the pros and all the stats that are thrown at me about why you want to back Miami in this spot. But the injuries, like I just can't get over the injuries they've had and how big of a deal it is that Waddle is banged up, Mostert's banged up, and I don't know. It's just a game that we're definitely going to dive into, but they didn't push me off my stance. I want to back the Bills. Like I wanted to get there on Miami. It's just I can't do it. It's just the whole scenario of this. It just feels like this is a Bills win. But even though I am backing the Bills, we're gonna talk about hedging, but like the dream scenario is here, people. We got a great number on the Bills to win the division. Now we get Miami at home as a dog. It's just such an easy hedge taking the +3 if you're figuring out trying to know what to do. But I again, it's the final week of the season, so there's gonna be a lot of disagreement. I was shocked about how much the pros love the home teams this week. But maybe, Evan has some stats about that. But I didn't realize that I love so many road teams this week until really talking to a lot of guys. I was like, wow, I do love a lot of road teams this week. So a
Well,
lot of
look,
disagreement, people.